This video is to explain what stakeholders are, what stakeholder management is, how that fits into strategy, and how that relates to corporate social responsibility and corporate social performance. So, what are stakeholders? Stakeholders are groups, individuals, organizations that can influence your company's performance, essentially, or who are impacted by your company's performance, and then a negative reaction could influence your performance. Um, so they're not just owners, they're not just shareholders, these are stakeholders. And the stake for, the Sierra Club in a mining company is indirect. It's not formal, it's not legal, but it's real nonetheless. So de facto rather than de jure. Uh, the two corporate social pieces here relate to the disconnect between sort of market theories of firms and legal theories of firms. Um, Market theories of firms says firms should just pay shareholders, right? They should exist to create profit for shareholders, um, and maybe value for consumers as the way to do that. Corporate social responsibility says shareholders are citizens of society. They have a charter from society to exist, and therefore they have to act like good citizens. They have to contribute to the growth and development of society. Uh, we won't get into that, but this is, in fact, the legal definition of a person, um, or of a corporate person under the 14th Amendment. And so this has become a normal thing that corporations do. They try and be responsible. Corporate social performance is how do they do? How responsible are they? What do they do to be responsible? And these are going to come up in Module 1, where we look at uh, how corporations impact the communities and societies that they're embedded in. So, what's a shareholder or what's a stakeholder? Um, Four classifications. The more dependent company is on a stakeholder group, the more they have to respond. Capital market stakeholders are generally the most powerful, most influential. That's shareholders and creditors, right? Owners and lenders. And they want returns. They want money returns, rent returns from their investments. And they, in theory, don't care about much else. Although there are ethical shareholders. There are product market stakeholders, customers, suppliers, host communities, unions, and competitors. I should put competitors in here. Well, they expect fair treatment. They don't want to have the company's costs externalized onto them. So an externalized cost would be something like pollution. And they want part of the pie. They want to appropriate some of the returns. Organizational stakeholders, employees, and that's generally divided into regular workers and managers. They want fair treatment, part of the pie, and to not be seen as a part of a bad company. And then indirect stakeholders, things like the government, activist groups, the press, they really expect moral and ethical behavior from the company. So compliance with law, appropriate behavior, but they're not lined up to get appropriate returns except in the form of taxation. And they're more, activist groups tend to be more interested in behaviors than the impact on performance. So those are the major groups. So how do you manage stakeholders? There's a traditional sort of PR view of public relations view of how do you do this power interest grid. So how interested is the stakeholder group in your company? How much attention are they paying? And then how much power do they have? That's the two dimensions of these. And then how do you respond to them? So low interest, low power, sort of the crowd, often consumers fall in here. just monitor them, pay attention to what they're thinking, but you don't really do anything. You don't have to do anything to manage them other than what you normally do. Um, uh, Low power, high interest, like line employees, um, you manage them by keeping them informed and engaged. Um, where you have high power to influence and low levels of interest, things like the media, right? Unless you're unless you're doing something bad, media is probably not going to pay attention. You just keep them satisfied. And then there are the players, things like shareholders, governments that have to be managed closely, right? So when you think about how am I going to respond to a shareholder or stakeholder group, this is sort of a guide.